At the press conference for the launch of CRS-17, we finally got an update on the Crew Dragon. NASA and SpaceX both made statements on the Crew Dragon test failure. What they had to say was encouraging. However, it does indicate that they don't yet have the answer.
The last thing I'll bring up is I know there's a lot of conversation and talk about what happened with the Demo 1 capsule. I know Hans is going to talk about that as well. But from a NASA perspective, we have worked very closely with the SpaceX team. Our first goal when this incident happened was to try to find out from a station program's perspective, do we have any issues with this particular Dragon? And very quickly, we partnered well with the SpaceX team. They were thinking the very same thing, and so we were able to get our arms around the common areas that we had to look at, that they had to look at, and at the end of the day, we didn't see any change in our overall measurable risk in going into the mission as a result of that. And so anyway, I just wanted to get that out there now. Again, I know there's a lot of conversation about it, but we looked very hard from a space station program at what that particular issue meant for us. I know all our friends in the commercial crew program, obviously they're very interested in what happened with that particular incident, and they're also very closely aligned with the SpaceX team and their investigation, and that's going to continue to go on for some time, and that's we'll let our commercial crew program go work with SpaceX and try to figure out their path forward. But we feel very comfortable in moving forward with this particular mission. So with that, I'll pass it on to Hans.
All right, thank you very much, and good morning. I'm happy to be back in Florida for another launch. I do want to start today with by addressing the test anomaly that occurred on April 21st this year. And please keep in mind, this is still very early in the investigation. The investigation is led by both SpaceX and NASA. Both teams are carefully reviewing the telemetry data and all the data that was collected during that test, high-speed imagery, telemetry, and it will include eventually the analysis of the recovered hardware from the test. Priority at this moment is to allow the teams to conduct thorough analysis before we come to any conclusions. That said, here's what we can confirm at this point in time. At the test stand, we powered up Dragon, and it powered up as expected. We completed tests with the Draco thrusters. The Draco thrusters are the smaller thrusters that are also on Dragon 1 and the Cargo Dragon. We fired them in 2 sets for each for 5 seconds, and that went very well. And then just before we wanted to fire the Super Draco, there was an anomaly and the vehicle was destroyed. There were no injuries. SpaceX had taken all safety measures prior to this test, as we always do. And because this is a ground test, we have a high amount of data, a huge amount of data from the vehicle and the ground sensors, but it is too early to confirm any cause, whether probable or root. But the initial data indicates that the anomaly occurred during the activation of the Super Draco system. That said, we're looking at all possible issues, and the investigation is ongoing. We have no reason to believe that there's an issue with the Super Draco themselves. Those have been through about 600 tests at our test facility in Texas, and you also know about the paddleboard. We did some hover tests, so there was a lot of testing going on the Super Draco. We continue to have high confidence in that particular thruster. And as you mentioned already, Crew Dragon is built upon the heritage of Cargo Dragon, but these are different spacecraft. Dragon does not use Super Draco and its propellant systems. We have looked at all the common links between the two spacecraft. We had viewed that, and we approved for flight. We approved them for flight by both teams, NASA and SpaceX in common. Also want to point out CRS-17, that spacecraft has flown as CRS-12 already which means it has been tested very well, like flight, basically. Yeah. Again, like to reiterate, the anomaly occurred during a test, not during a flight. That is why we test. If this has to happen, I'd rather it happens on the ground in the development program. And I believe what we learned from this test will make us basically a better company, and the and Dragon 2 at the end a better vehicle, a safer vehicle. And so we will take the lessons learned from this, and I'm convinced this will help us to ensure that Crew Dragon is the one of the safest human spaceflight vehicles ever built.
Stay tuned for updates on this as they happen. I will bring you whatever information I can when it becomes available. If you like this video, please press the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel, and also give it a thumbs up. You can also support this channel with a donation by using the link in the description.